Let's go, legends. It's Friday, getting ready for the weekend, and here we are still doing some trading, technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. Can this momentum continue here to the upside, or are we going to get a rejection in this zone before we claim the high? That is now the question. Okay, are we finally going to get that big breakout to the upside? Or is this just a continuation of the range that we have been experiencing for the last week or so? 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's a incredibly boring range that Bitcoin finds itself in, but a very interesting zone for a potential rejection over here before we claim this high. If we do claim the high, well, then I'm looking at some levels here to the upside for a potential short. It's not easy to trade this, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This is not easy to trade. Okay, very boring, festive time. People are taking a break from the charts. You can see it's just going up and down, and you basically, you are stuck inside of a range. So with that said, this range can continue. Okay, it looks bloody nice here at the moment. It looks like it wants to continue, and then it goes back down, and then it goes back. This range can literally just continue sideways, just boring price action here to the side. Okay, not easy to trade. Okay, even for experienced traders, this is not an easy range to trade. The live stream that I did the last time, okay, the last live stream that I did, and by the way, guys, Happy New Year for everyone. I did send a nice little message on YouTube, and I see a lot of people responded and sent me some personal messages, responded to the video. So for those of you out there, Happy New Year, and may 2026 bring you whatever your heart desires. Okay. But now let's do a little bit of technical analysis here on a Friday, because we know on Fridays we usually get the big move on the Friday, and then tomorrow it's going to be boring again, and on Sunday it's going to be boring again, and then on Sunday night, just before the markets open, that's when we start seeing volatility again. So guys, right, we still don't have a lot of volume kicking in here. I mean, some average volume here, but you can see, it's nothing, it's not, volume is still, it's still flat. Basically, we have the high volume peaks here in the tops, and we have the high volume peaks here at the bottoms. Okay, so from a scalping perspective, well, okay, if price is going to fall and eat up all of these lows, including these lows, maybe even come down here and eat up these lows, okay, you don't really want to claim that pivot. You don't really want to claim that pivot. So this is an interesting rejection zone that I'm currently eyeing here at the moment. And I will go through the larger time frame scenarios now so that you know why this pivot is so important for a rejection. Okay. If it continues, well, then some of those scenarios will be invalidated, or we'll just have to readjust the scenarios to cater for a longer sideways corrective structure. Okay, but what is interesting, okay, so let's maybe go quickly through that trade that we spoke about during the previous live stream. And it was, we have, okay, you guys all remember, let's just do a quick recap. We have an impulse to the downside. We have a three-wave corrective structure, and this is where I was building a short position, not to claim this high. And I said, if the bears have any chance, it needs to break down. So we got the rejection, but then it slowed down. And I was like, when I saw the slowdown over here, and especially when we made this low on lower volume, and this move on higher volume, I was like, that's not really what you want to see. Because then it opens up the door to say that, well, okay, then maybe you have a 1, 2, you have a 1, 2, you have another 1, 2, but then it starts, you're building up 1, 2s for that momentum to the downside, okay? But the more 1, 2s you build up, it was not nice. So what I did with that trade that I was in is, like I said, guys, I had my FIP, yeah, okay, that's the trade that I took. I took it live here in front of everyone, and I think I opened up a position here somewhere, okay, and I added at the 786. My stop loss was above the high. Price fell down. I took profits at these lows. That was my TP1. I just wanted to take profits at these lows. And then when I saw that, okay, I took a little bit more profits in the zone, still the same zone over here. And then I left it. I was like, okay, maybe we're building another one too. We are going to fall to the downside. So I left the rest of the position to run. But most importantly, I protected my position. I protected my position. I moved my stop loss to my entry price, just below my entry price, so that I can still benefit from the profit if price turns against me, which it now has done. Okay. And then eventually I closed my position. Yeah. This is where I closed my position. Because when you have a high volume drop, okay, and you start consolidating, this is what I refer to as the range high, and you close candles above the range high, you increase the probability to fill the inefficiency. So that was my TP1, TP2 out. I'm out of the trade. Okay, so you have to, and this is why I always talk about manage your trade. This is about managing your trade. The scenario was that we wanted, okay, there was a chance for price to form a 1, a 2, and a 3 to the downside. And then you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it stopped. And then price reversed and it gave me clues that it wants to go and eat up these highs again. So it was just about managing the trade. So at least it was a little bit of profit. It wasn't a lot, but at least profits is profits at the end of the day. Okay, the move did play out, but now we're getting some momentum here to the upside. And now again, okay, I'm looking at this little from the high to the low, this Fibonacci range to say that, okay, well, maybe, okay, when price was here with the Legends Pro community, I said maybe it will be good to go and eat up the liquidity above these highs. We have a little bit of a consolidation area over here, and there's a chance for price to reject before we take this high. So for me, this is an interesting zone to start looking for a short. Okay, ideally what I would like to see is for price to pull back down below the 786. I want to see some weakness, okay, because also this morning when we looked at CVD, it was, guys, I mean, look at this, okay, we all spoke about this CVD. Let me just put off the other lines over here. Let me switch off the other lines. Let me only give you the line that mattered this morning. As you can see over here, okay, price is climbing to the upside, higher lows, and CVD absolutely took a tank here to the downside, which increased the probabilities. When you see CVD falling and you make a higher low, you're going to claim the high, and then again you're going to claim the high. So every time price makes a retracement, it falls down, which means that there was massive absorption of people trying to short the market in this zone. Now all of the bullish CVD, all of this has now played out. It's done. Okay, so I can't look at this and say, well, price is just going to continue, because with each pivot, every time you take the high, that bullish CVD in that zone played out. You take the high, okay, so this high was now taken. So all of this bullish CVD, once we took the high, has now played out. Now I need to look for fresh CVD. Okay, so there's no more CVD to look at inside of this range because it played out. Okay, so let me just switch the other ones back on here. Anyways, I'll do that later. Okay, so there's a chance that price can reject because it's a very interesting zone for a rejection. It's Friday. I know we could get some volatility, but if this range is going to continue and if we are still going to get momentum to the downside, you actually ideally do not want this high to be claimed. And I need to explain that on the larger time frames. So this is why this zone is such an interesting shorting opportunity. If price continues, like I said, guys, I always have a plan to the upside. Well, I know that we have a lot of resistance in this zone where I will be paying attention. Okay. Also, when I zoom out here onto this entire structure, Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, now I have all my levels here marked out. Okay, and I do a fixed range profile. There we go. That's also in confluence with the value area high. So you have the value area high, you have a naked point of control, you have a daily level. So that to me, if price takes this high, okay, this is where we could potentially reject, fall down and come to the value area low again, which basically means that the range just simply continues. Okay. So let's go through a couple of scenarios, okay? And because this range is getting so long, it does unfortunately open up the door to many scenarios, and it literally is 50-50. There's not a 60% chance that we're moving up and a 40%. It's literally, guys, it's 50-50. Anything can happen here, okay? Very boring, very corrective price action. This, unfortunately, is very corrective price action. And what I mean by that is, even if you claim the highs, there's still a higher chance you're going to come and claim this low at some point. Even if we go to $100,000, okay? Because this looks awfully corrective, very overlapping structures, okay? If price had to move up, let's go here to the 4 hour time frame. Let me just explain this. Because someone in the community asked me this morning, Dewald, is there a scenario that says that this is the bottom and we continue the bull market? And I said, yes, I just need to go and update the scenario. But what's most important, once you make a low, you want to count an impulsive structure to the upside. Okay? And this does not look impulsive to me. This looks corrective. So you could still form a three-wave structure that goes as high, even claiming this high, and then still falls down. But the probabilities remain higher that whatever is forming here is part of a corrective structure. So you either fall down immediately, or if we do get upwards momentum, the probabilities will still remain higher to come and claim this low before we continue the bull run. And it's because of how this structure formed. Okay, and I need to go through it. So I do actually have it. Yeah. Let me just switch on scenarios. Here we go. Okay, this is the most bullish case scenario, right? Where we could go to $175,000, $170,000. This is the most bullish case scenario. The one thing that I always look for is that once you've made the low, what does this structure tell you? What's the story that this structure tells you? Does it support a move to the upside? Okay? But remember, guys, even if this this is the lowest probable scenario, even if this low probable scenario plays out, there is still opportunity to get into this trade without FOMOing into a trade. Because in this scenario, you have the chance to go and smack 175. But, okay, what I would wait for is a 5-wave move up. 1, 2, 3, because interesting short, remember what I said in the live stream, 4, you have to form a 4, not overlap this pivot, okay? Ideally, when you take a fib, okay, I'm just going to follow the rules from the low to wherever that high is. You should not tap the 1.618. You want the 4th wave to find support inside of this zone, and it needs to create a 5-wave structure. I want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After I see this structure, then it opens up the door for a very interesting long opportunity. A, B, C, that is your longing opportunity. There. Not here. Okay? I want to see the structure. The structure has to reveal itself. It needs to tell me that this was indeed a wave 1. Because there are problems inside of this wave 1. There's big problems inside of this wave 1. But I'm talking about the scenario just to say that, well, what if the lowest probable scenario that has the most issues do play out? Well, then that will be my opportunity. So you can see how incredibly patient I'm going to have to be for this scenario before I will consider a long that goes to $175,000. Let's just say 150 to 175. Guys, we don't know how high it's going to go. Okay, but you have to see a 5-wave move up. Okay, since you've made the low. And now I can explain to you, well, this is where the problem is. It's inside of this structure. If I go into the 1 hour time frame, okay, you have to count the structure. Let me switch this off and just redo it for you guys over here. Okay, so basically you're looking at a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 in a leading diagonal. Okay, you have a leading diagonal. Now, first of all, when you go and study the theory of Elliott waves, okay, Elliott wave theory, it will tell you that a leading diagonal is the lowest probable scenario. It carries the lowest probability out of all the impulsive structures. So now you already have a low probable scenario. Okay. Secondly, if your first wave is a 5-wave structure, all structures has to be 5-wave structures to the upside. If the first wave is a 3-wave structure, all structures has to be 3-wave structures. It's not allowed to mix. Okay, so I can count a 3-wave structure in here. And this also looks as like a 3-wave. That's a 3-wave structure. There's no two ways about it. But here's your problem. You have an impulse in your third wave. It's not allowed. Okay, so if by some, and the only reason I'm still talking about this scenario is because I see, okay, a lot of people want to know if it's possible. And what I'm trying to tell you over here is technically there's a lot of issues with this structure. Okay, because I don't know how to count this structure as a 3-wave structure. It does not make sense. And what I wanted to share today when I was thinking about this 3-wave structure is just to explain some basic rules about a 3-wave structure. Let's just look at a simple ABC, a 3-wave structure. There's a 3-wave structure. It has rules associated with it. Okay, usually when you have an ABC 3-wave structure, you want minimum FIB targets to be tapped. Okay, so usually what I do is to go and calculate the target for C. I will usually take a FIB from the low of A to the high of A to the low of B. And most commonly what you want to see is for at least the minimum target on this FIB to be tapped. So if I see a 3-wave structure that did that, I will still consider it. But if I see a 3-wave structure like this, it doesn't make sense. Do you guys see the difference? Or you have a 3-wave structure like this. Can you see that it doesn't make sense? Okay, now I take a FIB from the low of A to the high of A to the low. And I mean, guys, look how high that is. It doesn't even make sense to be a C wave. Okay. And this is what I'm trying to show you over here. Because when you look at this structure, okay, let's zoom into this structure. That is the problem. Look at this. A, B, C. Look at that long C wave. It's out of balance. Okay. Or so I see some people are counting this as an A, B, C. Didn't tap a minimum target. It counts way better as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. From a channeling perspective, it works. From a Fibonacci perspective, it works. This smells, looks, measures, technically way better as a 5-wave structure. And now you have a 5-wave that clearly is a 3-wave structure. So I'm just trying to show everyone, okay, technically why the structure carries low probabilities. For From a timing perspective, yes, the correction still makes sense. You have an impulse, you have a correction that is still continuing. There's no impulsive structures here. So now you also have to try and contend with, well, what correction is this for this impulse? Okay. Which means that even if this is an impulse, it actually makes more sense to go and sweep the lows again. Okay, it actually makes more sense to sweep the lows again to get a proper three-wave corrective structure, and then you continue to the upside. Okay, but basically all I wanted to highlight here is, guys, once you make a low, okay, ideally you want to build a proper impulsive structure to the upside. Okay, whoops. Now this would have been sexy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't happen. That's a normal impulse. Okay, multi 1-2s carries higher probability. Multi 1-2s. Okay, so you want to consider multi 1-2s. I think I did have it here, and we discussed the probabilities and why it carried low probability. Okay, this was the multi 1-2 scenario. Do you all remember the multi 1-2 scenario, where you basically form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a wave 1? You have a correction. Okay, there's your first one. Okay, now we need another 1, 2. Beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have another one. So we got excited. And then this happened. Okay, this correction was twice the size of this correction, which lowered the probability for a multi 1-2. And then eventually it got invalidated. Okay, you cannot have such a long correction in your second 1-2 compared to your first one. It needed to stop and move up. So multi 1-2s got invalidated. Okay, so now you know, for the people that's asking, can we continue the bull run from here? Yes. Does it have the highest probability? No. Technically, it does not have the highest probability. But I can tell you that if it had to play out, okay, let's go back here onto the 4 hour. I will still take advantage of the opportunity, but I need to see a 5-wave move up. I need to see a 1, a 2, a 3, most importantly, a 4 and a 5. Once I see a 5-wave structure, then I will be interested in longing the retracement. Beautiful trend, you play the breakout, or you have your fib from the high, from the low to the high. Okay, you have this beautiful consolidation that can provide support, but that is my opportunity, not here, to play the bull market to the upside. Okay, this is just scalping, guys. This is just scalping over here, because the structure has a higher chance of being corrective. So because the structure has a higher chance of being corrective, well, now let's talk about the corrective scenarios. Okay, so now let's look at the structure. And as price develops over here, guys, I mean, if it chop sideways, we're just going to have to adjust the counts because it's not pretty. But one of the scenarios is, okay, this is the most bearish case scenario. You have a 3-wave structure in a W, you have a 3-wave structure in a X, and you form a triangle in a Y wave. This is allowed. It's allowed to happen. You see it often. Y waves are allowed to make triangles. This little high here, okay, that's why I said, guys, this is an interesting shorting zone. Now you can see on the higher time frame why this is an interesting shorting opportunity, because this is the invalidation for this Y. This is why this, to me, is an interesting shorting opportunity with your stop above the high, because it could fall and even come and claim this low, where we have basically formed a completed WXY structure. 3-wave in W, 3-wave in X, and a triangle in Y. That's your invalidation, because you basically have your A, B, C, D, E. E is not allowed to claim that high, and it needs to fall down. Will it play out? I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting shorting opportunity that I'm keeping an eye on. Okay, and now that this price is a little bit high over here, well, you know, the higher you can enter before you hit your invalidation, the better your risk management is. Okay, then we have a WXY that continues still to the upside before it falls down. Okay, it's just a longer three-wave corrective structure. We formed a three-wave structure in a W, a three-wave structure in a X, okay, well, a mini X, because this is actually all your X wave over here, but inside of this X wave, you're basically forming an A, a B, a C, and a W, an X, and a Y in a triangle, A, B, C, D, E, and right now your invalidation is this low. You're not allowed to claim this low. So you're looking to claim the high. Minimum target is the 0.618. Remember the education that I've just shared for three-wave structures? Okay, when I take a fib from the low to the high to the low over here, minimum target for a three-wave corrective structure is the 0.618, which is basically above the highs. So now we have a bullish, it's 50-50, guys. There's your invalidation for the bearish case scenario. There's your invalidation for the bullish case scenario. Which way are you going to trade? It's up to you, up to your risk management. Most common target for this little Y wave is inside of this box. This is the most common target. I do like that high over there as well, just to go and claim all of that liquidity where you form a larger three-wave structure and you fall to the downside. Okay. Also, like I said previously, guys, is that, okay, this B wave can also stuff around, because in a three-wave structure, okay, if this is the low that needs to hold, okay, and the triangle is finished, and we're now going up for the Y wave, you could form an A that breaks out. Everyone longs like crazy people, okay. It comes back for a retest. They long, okay. You start getting some bearish CVD because there's too many longs entering. And then the market makers decide, okay, let's just do a flat. Let's just go and stop everyone out before we move up. And you form a flat corrective structure to the upside. Okay, so this could be a very interesting scenario where we break out. Okay, this is a very interesting scenario. You break out, you have people longing like crazy people. They play the back test. The back test doesn't happen. It stops all of them out, and then we get to move to the upside. A, B, C to the upside. Okay, as I was going to say, guys, this range is not easy to trade. If you don't know how to trade this range, you're going to struggle. Okay, unless you can just, have your risk managed, be defensive, have proper risk management, take profits. Like I showed you during the beginning of the stream, okay, how I managed my trade. I didn't get the profits that I wanted, but I still got out with profits just by looking at the structure. Okay, it's just going to be about trade management. Don't be that person that longs like a crazy person over here, because just remember, this can happen. It doesn't have to, it can do that, but it can happen. Okay, where you long like a crazy person, I'm not saying you guys, someone longs like a crazy person, let's just call them retail. Retail longs like crazy people over here. The back test doesn't happen, it stops them out, and then we go up for C. Okay, but once I have the A point and price falls, I know where to long over here. B flat targets. I know how to work out those targets. And if I'm here in a live stream, we can do that together. If price is here, because we can look for that beautiful longing opportunity here. You basically sweep up all the liquidity. Okay, you don't even have to claim this low, but this is a beautiful B, and then you play this last leg here to the upside to come and at least tap the 0.618. I'm just looking to trade that move if the scenario had to play out. That's a beautiful scenario, beautiful move. Okay. Right, legends, there are many variations. This is the one that we spoke about during the last live stream. Do you guys remember? It didn't play out. Okay, now it got invalidated. But we had a trade, a successful trade. I said this is where I'm looking for the short, in that green box, small little green box. This is the potential of what could happen. I want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where I'm looking for a long. And then this is the clues where I got out of the trade. Okay, claimed the range high, closed candles above on the smaller time frames, and then we on this momentum here to the upside, we started forming insane bullish CVD, which says, okay, you're going to claim those highs. There's a high chance you're going to claim those highs, and now we are here. So from a bearish perspective, this high should ideally not be claimed. So if there's any chance to still roll down here in that WXY that I've just shared, ideally you do not claim this high. Okay, so I can delete this. This one obviously did not play out. But at least we took profits, we protected position. I also told the pro community, if you did take the short, please make sure that you protect your position. Okay. Take some profits on the way down. Dewald, can that go lower than 80k? Yes, we can go lower than 80k in the scenario that I've just shared. Not this one, completed. This one. Okay, we can go lower. So on the 4-hour time frame, if this scenario had to play out, okay, you could still form that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can still form an impulse. Yes, you have broken the channel, which is reducing the probability for a fifth wave to the downside, but it has not been invalidated. You have claimed the 0.5 or the 0.3. Okay, the 0.3, which is a minimum target, has been claimed. So let's just say 1, 2, 3. It's not pretty, okay? But I think even if I take it from this high, I mean the 0.618 has not even been claimed. So it doesn't matter how you skin this cat. If this is even if this is a 1 and a 2, maybe you have a flat in a corrective structure. So you could even count this as a 1, a 2, a 3. Okay, you have not claimed the 0.618, which invalidates a fourth wave. So fourth wave has not been validated. So you could fall from here and create a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then play the retracement back to the upside. So I am very interested in the levels to the downside. Hi Dewald Arena, welcome to the stream. Sorry, a little late, no worries. It would be better if no one knows what will happen. Yes, it's definitely turned around. It definitely, Milky, it's turning around, yeah, but I mean, okay, the bears, the absolute bears still have a chance over here, okay? The bears still have a chance. I'm not sure if I shared this scenario or if I actually have it saved. Let me just go through everything. Yes, here's another scenario, okay? A little bit different from all the other scenarios that I see a lot of people are sharing. But in this scenario, the invalidation is at exactly the same place. Okay, you can see there's my invalidation. So you basically formed a wave to the upside. This is an A wave. So you want the green box to be tapped, because if you have a three wave structure in an A wave, you have to at least tap the 0.9. So you want this high to be protected, and you want price to fall down in an impulsive structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least tap the 0.9. Then you go up in a C wave. Very similar. Can you guys see the similarities? Okay. It's just this range, very confusing. We don't know what we're going to get. Guys, and there's so many variations of this range. You could even still form, let me just take this out the way. You know, this could still be a W. This could still be part of, let's say, a larger X, where this is your A, B, C, D, E. Then you build a larger triangle over here. Okay, there's so many variations that can happen over here. Like literally the sideways chop can just continue sideways. So the best thing that I like to do is just look at the local structures, look at liquidity inside of the local structures, have your levels ready, play your swing failure patterns. Okay, where did I now put my, here we go. You guys can see I have my levels marked out all clearly. Okay, so from a larger time, 4-hour time frame perspective, well, now this zone looks interesting for a short. If price had to come down, this zone looks interesting for a long, depending on how price reacts at that level. If it falls down, well, let it fall. I have another level. But then, yeah, okay, here's is a interesting, it's a little bit of an open space over here. So the only trade that I could potentially enter over here is with Fibonacci levels. Basically have a W, okay, you have an X and you are forming, yeah, it's basically the scenario, guys. I don't have to redraw it. Oh, this bullish one. We'll see how this plays out. Okay, sorry guys, I just need to take this call quickly. Let me just... Okay, there we go. Sorry guys, I had to pop out quickly. I'm back. Sorry, I had to pop out quickly to get a delivery. But it's done. I had to run, get the pin, get exit codes. Okay, I didn't expect the delivery to take place now, but it happened. Okay, so basically, here's all the levels. Okay, let's go through some comments. But I think what is interesting over here... But I mean, we had the breakout there. We had the breakout there. I mean, not an easy range to trade, guys. Not an easy range to trade. If you did not get into a long down here, okay? If you did not get into a long in this zone over here, this is not a zone where I want a long. Okay, I'm happy to stay out and rather look for a shorting opportunity. That looks like an interesting short. You have a consolidation area. Just reading the price action, you also have the consolidation area here. That will provide support that also aligns with the daily and the weekly levels. Can you guys see? Okay. And but yeah, let's go through some comments. I think it would be interesting to run a poll just to see where the... What would be the most bullish scenario for the bull market continuation, end of bull market? Okay, I'm just reading through some. Tap the like while Dewald takes his call. Thanks, Nico. Appreciate the support, man. Let's smash the like, legends. Show some love. Thank you so much, Mr. Pac-Man. Always appreciate you being here. Remember to leave a comment after the live stream. That would be greatly appreciated. It also helps tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Okay. Mr. Pac-Man, Happy New Year, Dewald. What would be the most bullish scenario for a bull market? Continuation or end of bull market? Well, I think the most bullish case scenario that I would technically like to see on the daily time frame, okay, if I look at the daily time frame, the most bullish case scenario would be to get an ABC flat. For this to be the high, and this is your A, that's your B, and we form a C here to the downside. That would be the most bullish case scenario. But in this scenario, if you guys have not seen that short that I made, you need one more low. You need another low, because at the moment, this is a three-wave structure. So if price continues up here to continue the bull market, then it's not an ABC flat. Then this is just another higher low, you continue. Okay, higher low, you continue. We still have a higher low, you continue. But this will not be as bullish as falling further. Because if we fall further, okay, this is the beauty about falling a little bit further. Then I could label this, okay, this is the beauty. The most insane bullish case scenario is I can label this as a wave 1. I can label this as a 2, and we go up for 3 and 4 and 5. And that, I mean, guys, I mean, the sky's the limit for this little third wave. Let me just take this out the way. This third wave, that's the wave you want to be in. Not the fifth and the fourth wave. Stuff that's boring, okay? That's the wave you want to be in. But in order for there to be a chance for a second wave, it can't stop here, because you need a proper A, B, C, and inside of your C wave you need 5 waves down, and we only have 3 waves down. So there's a chance that if we do get another low and we don't invalidate the impulsive structure, you have a completed A, B, C. And this, for me, at the moment, is the most bullish case scenario, where you absolutely rock and roll here to the upside in a third wave. I mean, it can go to 300,000, 400,000, 5, like third waves, guys, they don't have limits. The sky's the limit. As long as they just claim a 618 target and they can just go, okay? The minimum target would be the 1.618. So let's, just for curiosity's sake, go and work out the minimum target if this scenario had to play out. Okay, you're looking at about $212,000. I just don't know where that low is going to be, okay? And I'll be able to have more specific targets once, if we do get another low. Okay, ETH is actually doing, guys, I'm not doing any count here on ETH at the moment, but I was just looking at this momentum. Breaking out, formed that little bullish pennant. Not pretty, but it's breaking out. Okay, this low should remain protected for momentum to continue here to the upside. ETH looks very interesting, okay, because you do have a nice impulse here to the upside, and you do have a corrective structure that balances from a timing perspective as well. So it is very interesting to see, well, what is going to cook here. And now it broke out of this channel. Okay, so there's a chance that it can come and eat up these highs, okay, your profit taking areas. And this is the same with Bitcoin over here, guys, on the 4-hour time frame. Even if it's bearish, and even if the structure looks way more corrective than impulsive, okay, if it had to do this, okay, that move will give a lot of steam here to Ethereum to also go and hit some of these highs. Okay, maybe dominance drops and it just creates a higher high. I don't know how aggressive it's going to get you on ETH, but it's just, guys, the structure, and I've gone through it in quite some detail. So if you did join a little bit late, I went into detail where I explained from a technical perspective why this structure, okay, has a low probability of being an impulsive structure, where from this low we just continue the bull market. There's still a lot that can happen here, guys, okay, because you could still form complex corrective structures. So at the moment, for me, this looks like a 3-wave structure. I can't count 5 waves up until this point, okay? So most bullish case scenario, if we hold this low, and let's say this turns out to be an impulsive structure, I don't think it's going to go high. Okay, it's not going to give you that third wave to the upside. You're maybe going to smack $130,000, $140,000 and then fall back to the downside. So for the bulls, for the long-term investors, you actually do not want the bull market to continue from this point. You actually want a little bit lower because that opens up the door to higher levels to the upside. If this is the low and we continue, that opens up the door to much lower targets. Okay, so I know everyone wants the price to go up. Is the low in? But I'm telling you now, the lower the price goes, the more bullish it becomes. Because that opens up the door for a completed corrective structure, okay, on the daily time frame. Also, guys, you know, let's do a little bit of timing here. If I take this from the low to the high, okay, it's minimum target over here, okay. It just depends on where this low, I need to put it here on the log scale to see exactly where that low is, so we can just get it spot on, okay. Maybe go here to the weekly. Where's Mr. Bitcoin over here? Okay, let's go and look for that low. I just want to nail it properly so we can get this target properly. Okay, that was the low. Right over there. And make sure that I've got the high nailed. Okay, so now you will see, okay, if this is your impulse that ended over here, and all of this is part of the corrective structure, the low was made on the minimum target. On the minimum target. Can you guys see here? Literally on the minimum target. If I switch this on and off. Just on the minimum target. I just want to see on the daily time frame when that low was made. Yeah, after the minimum target. So on the daily time frame, we can see it was made after the minimum target. The problem that you sit with is that you still, okay, so from a timing perspective, it's in the zone where the correction can conclude. Okay, it's in the zone. But you have a three-wave structure down. And you have a higher high over here. Compared to this, a higher low, sorry guys, a higher low compared to this low. So in this scenario, you have a running flat. It's the rarest corrective structure in Elliott wave theory, is a running flat. From all the flat structures, it's the rarest, where you form a flat to the upside that takes the high, but you have a low that did not take the low. And on higher time frames where technical analysis becomes more accurate, it's not what you want to see. Also, in an ABC flat, in an A, B, C flat, this is a three-wave structure, so it cannot be counted as a C wave. I can count this as an A, I can count this as a B, but I cannot count this as a C at the moment. It needs to fall and make one more low. Then you have an A, B, C that finishes after the minimum requirement. You can label this a 1, you can label this a 2, and then that is where things get absolutely parabolic. Do you guys see the difference? Okay. Okay, and then there's the you know, what if the correction continues until the 1-to-1 extension? Then you build an A, B, C, okay, you get a W. You form maybe a triangle in an X, like we all know, X waves can form a triangle, and then you form another A, B, C in a Y wave. So there's a chance that even after this high, okay, you think it's done, okay, and then it forms a larger corrective structure, much larger corrective structure. So that is why it's so important to learn to trade ranges. So important to learn to trade these ranges. Because if you can learn to trade a range, you can stay profitable as a day trader. Okay, you don't need a bull market and a bear market. For our spot bags, yes, we want that. But from a day trading perspective, we just want volatility. But even from a day trading perspective, this range is very difficult to trade. And sometimes, guys, and I have said it before, if a range is too difficult for me to trade, I stay out of it until the structure makes sense. So the only trade I took was during the last live stream where I took this trade. I took this short. Okay. took 2 TPs over there and I closed my position over there. That's the only trade I took so far. I'm not in a trade at the moment. But I am very interested now in shorting, to look for short opportunity here with my stop at the highs. It does look very interesting because it does support a bearish case scenario where we do in fact go and make one more low like we need in that 5th wave to the downside to complete the C wave. Okay, this scenario looks very interesting. Not this one, not this one. Where did I put it? Complete, here we go. This one, oops, not this. Well, this one also looks very interesting, by the way, but it's not going to be a C wave. Okay, anyways, let me just draw it out. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here we go, most bearish. The correction's almost done. You formed A, B, C, you get a W. A, B, C, contracting diagonal, you get a X. And you form a triangle in a Y. And you fall down, you claim the lows. And now, what's the beauty about this scenario is that now you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have a 5-wave structure. That can be your C wave. In that ABC that I've just shown you on the larger time frames. Okay. Let's see how many likes we have here for this live stream. Do we have likes for this live? Oh, I clicked on the wrong button here. Let me just go back. 64 likes. Yo, I think we can do better than that. I think it's not just Bitcoin that's bearish. It's also the like button here is a little bit bearish today. I know we can do better than that, but I don't see. We actually do have a lot of people on the stream today for a Friday. Very surprised to see so many people live on the stream today. So do me a favor, just tap that like button ever so gently. As you all know, okay, I've got Valto. If you do not trade, or if you like to trade on decentralized exchanges, Valto has very low trading fees. I do like to scalp there at the moment. I have a trader playbook. If you guys want some education, you want to learn how to do it properly, you want to go into psychology, you want some templates and checklists to do the game properly, I do have a trader playbook, a trading course. And then here's the exchanges that I'm currently trading with at the moment. If you want to join our Legends Pro community, also links always down in the description. Okay, Mr. Rudy, welcome in the house. Did 2026 start profitably? Yes, for me at least. My first trade was profitable for 2026. Imagine the daily correction extending to the 2 extension. I mean, Jack, yes. You know, if that daily correction extends up until the 2 extension, if you're not going to learn how to trade the ranges, I mean, you're going to be, I think everyone's I think all of retail will leave crypto. Can you imagine? Okay, from a timing perspective, if we go to the 2 extension, where is that? The 2 extension is here. I don't even have dates, guys. That's past 2030. Okay, but most commonly, you can look at previous cycles as well. If you look at the previous bull run, okay, let's put it into perspective. Let's take time. How long did the bull cycle last? It lasted from 2020, March, up until 8 November. Okay, that's how long the bull market lasted. Where did we make the low? The lowest point was made just before the 0.618. And when you go and back in the history of Bitcoin, you will see that there's a little bit of a theme. Most of Bitcoin's lows after a bullish cycle is made inside of this zone. Almost never claiming even the 1-to-1 extension. So if you go and you just use data, then there's a higher chance to form a low inside of this zone. Okay, maximum target being 25th of May of this year. So there's a chance, okay, that we don't even tap the 1-to-1 extension. Let me just put this back onto regular so that I don't confuse myself when I do trading here and I don't know why the levels aren't matching up. I want to see what CVD is doing. It's nothing yet. Nothing yet, guys. Nothing yet. Okay, we need fresh CVD at the moment. All the bully CVD has played out. So nothing yet, but we are getting the rejection. Let's go here onto the 15-minute time frame. It is a very interesting zone to start looking for some shorts. Okay, if it continues and I get stopped out, well, I have the levels to the upside. Yeah, guys, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a small little short position over here. And I'm not sure if I already did. Let's just refresh this. For some reason, my exchange is not loading up over here. Let's just check. Here we go. Okay, this might take a while. I'm not sure why it's not loading up. But I'm considering, okay, just like here, guys. I was considering a short in the zone. I entered a position right around here and I added at the 786. I had my stop above the high, price fell down. I protected my position. Just manage your trade, okay? Trade management. When we claimed these lows over here, I took some profits. And then when I saw this low being made on lower volume, I took more profits. So I took profits in this zone. We had a range high, price moved up, it broke above, I closed my position over here. So it's just about trade management, trading the range. That's all I'm doing. So I'm very interested in a shorting position over here. Okay, just my exchange just doesn't want to load up at the moment. So I'll do this after the live stream if price hasn't absolutely fell too much, because I don't want to expose myself to too much risk. Right. Mr. SGS, why not mod? I don't know. I will go check that out. You're supposed to be mod. I will go check that out. Maybe someone played around with the settings, Mr. SGS, but welcome to the live stream. Okay, Dewald, how to trade a bull market day to day? Well, I can trade. Okay, well, let me rephrase it. As a day trader, okay, because you're saying day to day, as a day trader, you do not care whether it's a bull market or whether it's a bear market. You don't care. You just trade the structures in front of you. You have your levels, you know where to short, you look at your 3-wave structures, your 5-wave structures. You don't even have to know Elliott wave theory, guys, to trade ranges, because you can see even the Elliott wave scenarios inside of this range is getting extremely complex. And most Elliott wave traders don't even know how to trade this range. So if you have your levels marked out, your daily levels, okay, you look at your impulse to the downside. I saw the correction last live stream. I was like, okay, we must probably going to fall. It's worth taking the trade. Also now I know that there's a chance that this high can be protected. We have not claimed the 0.88. I'm looking for a short in the zone. There's a chance it could fall down. Claim the lows again. Okay, so you... I've deviated from your question, but I don't need a bull and a bear market to trade. Okay, my interesting story for those of, I'm not sure if I actually did speak about it inside of my story. I turned profitable as a trader. Okay, let's just wait for this to load up. I think I have internet issues maybe at the moment. That's why my exchange is not loading up. Okay, this, guys, this is where I turned profitable as a day trader. This zone here. That is where I turn profitable as a day trader. Okay, because it's a different skill. It's not about trading a bull market and a bear market. It's day trading is a completely different skill. You don't care whether you're in a bull and a bear market. You just apply your trading strategy. This is where I turn profitable, in this range. Okay, yeah, I was just hyping and I just couldn't believe in this range over here. I just couldn't believe that people were selling pictures, pixelated pictures of rocks for hundreds of millions of dollars. I was just flabbergasted. Okay, but I also made a lot of money here to the upside. Also made a lot of money here to the upside. I also lost a lot of money from a spot perspective. Luna, I invested a lot of money in Luna, which crashed, went to zero in 3 days. My money was locked up in the Terra station. I needed 31 days to unlock it. So I just had to literally sit and watch it go to the downside. I mean, I took that pain from a spot perspective, okay? Also, didn't take enough profits with my spot bags over here. And I had to ride all of this here to the downside, okay? But as a day trader, that's where I turn profitable. I can apply my trading strategy in any range. Okay. Retail have capitulated, Dewald. YouTube views can confirm that. Yes, I agree. Okay. I mean, I can even see it on Andy's streams. I can see it on my streams. Okay. But retail loves to come back when altcoins are exploding. They don't really care about Bitcoin. I don't think retail really cares about Bitcoin. But I see when alt starts popping, you know, the altcoins are starting to shift momentum. They're gaining some momentum to the upside. That's when the views here on the streams just double or triple in a couple of days or weeks. Yeah, hearing Luna makes me sad, Jack. Yeah, that was I mean, I can laugh about it now, and I can say how stupid it was. But when you go through that, and you have 80% of your portfolio locked up in Luna, I made a lot of stupid mistakes, guys. One of the biggest mistakes I made was I went in way too heavy with Luna, believing, okay, and I'm not going to mention names. You guys know exactly who I'm talking about, okay. Someone in the crypto space convinced me that it is the best thing to buy from a long-term perspective, okay, and I trusted that person. I really trusted that person. I believe that that person has done his research. And I bought a big bag of Luna. 80% of my portfolio went into Luna. And I was just like, buy, hold. I'm just going to hold it for the next 10 years. That was my, okay, I'm going to put it in the Terra station. So it can, you know, I think if you were that time when you put your Luna tokens in the Terra station, you also got the free airdrops from other tokens as well. Do you guys remember that? And then we all know what happened to Luna. Yeah, that was a sad day. So the biggest lesson I took from that is diversification. Okay, diversify. Do not put all your monies on one horse, or don't put all your money on one horse. Okay. Also, when I'm trading, guys, this is why. Okay, when I'm trading, you will never find me with all of my money in one exchange. You will never find me with all of my money in one exchange. Never. Because I also traded on FTX. And I had a big sum of money there. And what happened? This is why I have money in Weeks. This is why I have money in BTCC. I still have money in Bybit as well. I still have money in Mexi. I have more exchanges and I keep a little bit everywhere so that if something for whatever reason happens to one exchange, I have another one to fall back onto. And then also don't put all of your money onto different exchanges. Okay. So for example, people don't realize that you can use leverage, okay, leverage trading as a risk management tool. So if you want to trade $1 million, you don't have to put $1 million into an exchange. You don't have to. Okay, you can put $100,000 and say, I'm going to just 10x the position every time I place a trade to mimic me playing with $1 million. But I don't trust, for example, the exchange with all of my money. That could be your philosophy, is to say that, well, you will use leverage to mimic your money, and then if you liquidate or whatever, you can put money back in, whatever your plan is. Okay. Right, legends, but I think I have Dewald. Are you losing the short position? Are you losing the short position? Are you losing? I don't know if, Carlos, I don't know if I'm losing the short position. Okay. Because I have not entered. I wanted to enter a short right now, but I can't get my exchange to load up. But the short position, Carlos, if you're talking about the short position I opened with the previous live stream, I already closed it and I took profits. Okay, I already closed it. And I explained to everyone why I closed it and where I closed it. But anyways, guys, have yourselves an amazing Friday, amazing weekends, amazing weekend. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great weekend. Cheers for now.